Hey, everybody, Jeff Klein with Speaker Co-op here. Welcome to another edition of Ask the Expert. I'm excited to introduce you to Christopher Nauer today. Christopher is with Balance6. He's a business coach, a Brian Tracy certified time management master, an author, a mentor, a speaker, and a consultant. Christoph specializes in helping business owners successfully grow their business while working less and spending more time on the beach or golf course every single week without losing any momentum or cash flow inside their business. We were talking a little earlier about Nauer Power, and now today we have Christoph Nauer, and here we go. Hi, Christoph. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm excited to hear about spending more time. Well, maybe not the golf course or the beach, maybe at the poker table, uh, maybe at the movie theater, uh, somewhere staying in business, but not necessarily constantly babysitting the business. Let's
That's
talk,
exact.
man.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Yeah.
So how does that happen? Well, first of all, how did you come to be the guy to help us with that?
Well, my wife and I were always working full time, raising three kids, and so juggling a lot of different stuff. Okay, and we also realized that if we didn't take care of our own needs and our own relationship, then something was going to blow. And and we always felt guilty. It's like, okay, we're working all day, and then we're gonna go away and leave the kids with a babysitter again, so and so forth. So, but I think the pivotal experience was one night we said, we just need this break. We got a babysitter. The kids were sitting at the top of the driveway as we were pulling out, and they were chanting, "Party, party." And my wife and I look at each other and say, okay, so we feel guilty about leaving them with a babysitter, and they're throwing a party. Well, they knew that life was different with a babysitter. It was almost like hanging out with the grandparents or whatever. Their job is to spoil the kids rotten and give them back to the parents afterwards. And you know that we realized, okay, this is we need this, but also our kids need it because they deserve the best version of ourselves and not the leftovers. If they see parents being resentful and always stressed out, short tempered, and they're never really present, then they grow up with that model of parenting. But also, they will resent their parents for not being there for them, you know? And the idea is that your kids still love you once they move out. That they can come back once in a while and visit, and not move out and say, oh, finally I can leave because I'm not welcome here anywhere because nobody ever makes any time for me. Um, so I think that was a pivotal moment. And so we all have enough, we all get the same amount of time. We always can make more money. So how are we using that most precious commodity that we all have the same amount of? It's up to us.
Yeah.
Totally up to us. And especially as a business owner, you know, uh, we call our own shots. We decide when to work and when not to work, if to work or whatever, and that's one of the reasons why business owners usually go into business for themselves. But quite often, what happens eventually is the business starts to drive them and not the other way around.
Yeah, we become
And
a slave to the business, and it becomes the new boss that we thought we got rid of.
exactly, exactly. And that is what I'm helping my clients avoid, so that they can have a successful business and happy, fulfilling home life as well.
Wow, that's good stuff. So, what was the first thing that you discovered or realized to head down this path?
That
Well,
self
you
care.
that was what you. I'm sorry, you just described the first thing was about the kids. So, what happened next?
Well, then, uh, a friend of mine invited me to a men's group, and there I met a guy who was a coach, and I was like, "Oh, tell me more." We had about 20 coffee meetings and whatever, and eventually was, "Hey, this sounds really cool, dude. do you know how I can get trained? So he said to me, funny you should ask. I'm just transitioning from coaching people to training new coaches. You want to be my first student? So I said, hey, good, sign me up. So that's how this whole thing started. And then, as you would know, and most listeners probably know that too, is once you get a little certificate of your training or whatever you call it, that means you know absolutely nothing. You might have a little piece of paper, but you know nothing. You know, so that's when the real learning curve started. I started to follow gurus in the industry, Brian Tracy, Christian Michelson, John Assaraf. And about 5 years ago, I took one of Brian Tracy's uh, time management mastering programs and got certified by him as a time management master. Um, I'm still on his mailing list. To me, he's my guru. He's my uh, model. He's just my hero. He's just fantastic with everything he does. You know, and so over the years since I started that in 2010, eventually I came up with the business name Balance 6. The six that we need to balance, in my opinion, are time and money, of course. I consider myself the time and money coach, but then also health, relationship, self improvement, and spirituality or higher power.
Mm.
When we balance those six, then we're the best version of ourselves. It doesn't matter what role we play, as a spouse, as a parent, as a business owner, as a friend, you know, and everybody who encounters us deserves the best version of ourselves.
Sure. Well, and the other things we're thinking about, they all boil down to those six.
Yes,
They all
right.
fit
Yeah.
that model. Sure. It makes a lot of sense. And then how did things work with your first few clients?
Well, in the beginning, like, you get your feet wet, you have to practice. And so I had a couple of friends who volunteers to be, my guinea pig. Um, and then one of them, my coach, and said, you got to tell him to lose his script. And then that was the first time I had really had to step outside my comfort zone. Um, but it really is true, because once people start talking about the challenges that they're experiencing, my thoughts and way looking for ways to solve that and help them with it just came. It just popped
Okay.
up, you know. And so trusting that as a guy who was attached to a script, now I still have an intake form, of course, when I have my first consultation with my clients. But after that, it's really about me being there, listening to my clients' pain and challenges, and then suggesting ways to overcome them.
Interesting. So tell us you've mentioned the six areas. How do they break down further, or do they break down further than that?
Well, see, the overarching one is time. And, most of my clients' biggest challenge is the use of that time. So a lot of them don't have a plan or a schedule for the day. The things that they have on their schedule, of course, are appointments. You got to have those, but that's it. So if that's the only thing on your calendar, then there's probably a lot of empty space on your calendar. And then, okay, what do I do during those empty space, that empty time? So 1 minute of planning can help you save up to 10 times in execution time. So just imagine if I spend 10 minutes in planning, that could save me later on 100 minutes.
You know?
I mean, this is insane, and so people say, I don't have time for this. So I try to show them that if you have a GPS for the day, you know exactly when you're getting up, what you're going to do next, what you're going to do next. Then your productivity skyrockets. And then there's a few nuggets that I share with them. One is called the 90-15-90. That's straight out of Brian Tracy's rule book. If you just implement that little nugget once a week, your productivity goes through the roof.
We'll
What
put
that means,
that.
basically,
Sorry, I was gonna say. Let me say the title again. I want to put it in the notes.
90, 15, 90. And what that really means is spend 90 minutes, block time on your calendar for 90 minutes for uninterrupted work on a project, whatever you need to get done, whether that's making calls or have to make a proposal, whatever it is. Clear your desk and put only the stuff you need for that particular project on your desk. And only do that for 90 minutes, nothing else. Your phone is off, your email is off, everything is off. Then you take a 15-minute break and then you do it again.
Okay.
If you do that just once a week, you will be blown away how much you get done. The key, of course, is that during the 90 minutes, you do absolutely nothing else. You just focus on that particular project. And if 90 is too long for you, fine, then do 60, 10, 60. You know, um, the key is to single-mindedly focus on that particular task for the allotted time and nothing else. And most of us, what we do is, email pops up. In the olden days, you got mail. Uh, um, and even if we don't open the email and look at it, the little alert is enough to derail our train of thought.
Yeah.
Now, if your email is closed, you exit out of it, you don't see that. And, a big, violator of all this is, of course, this baby, you know.
Mm.
So we can put that thing on airplane mode. That means nothing. It doesn't go off. It doesn't ding. Actually, it does ding if you have a reminder set for something, But other than that, you don't get any phone calls or text messages or nothing. Um, so that piece alone can save people tons of time.
So how does somebody get started? In other words, what's the first meeting with you entail as to getting them into the Balance 6 method?
So the first meeting is, I call it a business breakthrough session. Okay. During that time, about 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to look at where the client wants to go. Where do they see themselves in a year or two in their business and their personal life? Because those two cannot be separated, in my opinion. Okay. We dig deep in what it is that they want to. Next, we're going to look at the challenges. What is holding you back? What's standing in your way? How long have these challenges been going on? And how do those challenges manifest themselves in your business and in your personal life and in your health and relationships with others? And then question is, okay, how important is it for you to change this? I always ask that question, and then I follow up on a scale of 1 to 10. And if it's not a 9 or 10, I know that we won't be working together. And then the next question is, are you interested or are you committed? If you're interested, you will do what's convenient. If you're committed, you'll do everything it takes to make it happen. And then, after that, I will go through my coaching methodology and tell them how it works and how they can make this a reality. So that's in a nutshell what that consultation looks like. And regardless of whether they hire me or not after this consultation, they get some clarity on where they want to go. They also, maybe realizing what is not working. They may have not even thought about that. So I'm just pulling some information out of them. So yeah, so that's how that works, and then they can decide if they want to work with me or if they want to figure it out on their own or hire somebody else.
Right. So how many folks are working in this area do you have colleagues that are doing this that you can refer to if you're not a match with somebody, or how does that work?
No, I mean, I don't refer to other coaches because I have no idea if they don't feel like I'm a good fit, then then either they hire a coach, or they may have to look for somebody else. I have a vast network of people who do things that don't do, but business owners need. So
Okay.
I can refer them, to that. If they need a website, if they need a logo, if they need a bookkeeper, if they, all that kind of stuff. So I can tap into a vast network of people that I have available at my fingertips and that I feel comfortable referring to.
And of course, we want our everybody in our network to be another hub for resources. And of course, Speaker Co-op obviously is one of those resources that we can
Right.
hook people up through for
Right.
sure. Well, let's why don't we maybe we should do a little show and tell, Christoph. Maybe a piece of an exercise. What do you think?
Sure.
What what could we work on to show people what it's like to work with you on balancing some of this stuff?
Well, so the first thing that um, I work with them on is getting clarity. The clarity is the most important concept of productivity and time management.
Okay.
And clarity leads into goals and goal setting. Okay. And only 3% of people have written goals for their lives or businesses. So we plan for our vacations and our dinners more carefully than for our lives or our business. Um, so that's where we need to start. So what is it that in we look then at smart goals in those 6 categories, you know. So if you want to make more money, okay, you find a penny on the street, boom, right? There it is.
Okay.
You want more money, you found a penny, you got more money. Okay. Now, if you want to look at a smart goal, I want to make, $10,000 a month by whatever. I don't know. Pick a date, November 1st. Okay. So then that's very specific. It's measurable. Okay. It's a smart goal. And we do that in the other categories as well. So I want to spend more time with my family. Well, what the heck does that mean? All right. So tonight you're going to sit with them for 5 minutes, and yesterday you didn't sit with them for 5 minutes. Okay, done. So again, getting crystal clear. So let's say I would like to have a family meal once a week. Every Sunday night, the family gathers as a family for a dinner. Okay, that's doable. I want to have a date night once a week. Key point for people who are in a committed relationship, and especially those with kids, so that and this goes back to my original uh, presentation, so that you don't look at each other 10, 20 years down the road. Oh, have we met? You know, so we focus on our careers and our businesses and our kids and everything else, but we neglect each other. You know, so the the divorce rate in this country is insane. You know, marriage
Yeah.
family therapy. They are so busy that you have to wait weeks to get an appointment. You know, well, why is that? Because we live separate lives. You know, we don't spend quality time together with our friends, with our family, and with our kids, with our loved ones. It becomes an afterthought. Well, let's turn that around and make that a priority. So every Friday night, hun, we're going to go out. It's going to be our time, and nobody gets to interfere with that. Boom, put it put it in here with a little alert as a reminder. Um, Health. What kind of exercise you want to do? Diet, lunch breaks. You know, you can just grab a quick fix. You know, uh, fast food thing for lunch because you don't have time. Well, if you plan ahead and maybe do some food prep at home, then before you leave the home to go to the office, you can take the lunch with you. So you have something healthy with you there. And you don't want to shuffle your food down sitting at the computer working. No, you want to have and take a lunch break. You're actually going to be more productive in the afternoon if you do that than if you don't do that. It's a myth that if you work 12, 14-hour days, you're more productive. Your productivity goes down after 8 hours. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so all these things, we need to get clear on that. I talk to my clients about developing a morning routine, so have a routine that sets you up to play at a 10 every day. Yeah, once in a while, I mean, I may not feel like it, but if you set it up instead of waiting for the alarm to go off and hit the snooze button 5 times until you can't hit it anymore because you're going to be late for an appointment, that's not starting the day well. That puts you on the hamster wheel, and you're going to be on it till you fall off at 7 o'clock at night, completely exhausted. Okay. What are you doing to improve yourself? There's always more to learn. The more I know, the more I learn, the more value I bring to my clients. Um, how do I nurture my spiritual side? Praying or meditating or whatever people do to nurture their spiritual side. So getting clarity on all that and setting time aside for that gives us a more balanced life. And when we have more balance in our lives, then we could, again, as I said earlier, we're going to be a much better version of ourselves. Then once we get clarity, then next we got to create an action plan. Once we have these goals, what do we need to do for us to achieve those goals?
Important question.
And that's the next step. Um, so that's just kind of, in a nutshell, some of the work we do. Create and then the improvement of skill set. Most of my clients' skill set is around time management and how to use it. The whole idea of time blocking, scheduling, planning, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of like
Yeah.
real quick summary.
So how do people get in touch with you, Christoph? Besides your profile at speakercoop.com, of course.
Balance6.biz. So
Balance6.biz.
yeah, so balance the number 6.biz has everything that they need. They can book a complimentary business breakthrough session with me at that site. They can download the free report, 5 steps to put your business growth on autopilot. They can also buy my book, From No Time to Free Time, 6 Steps to Work-Life Balance. That takes them to Amazon. They can get the ebook for, I guess it's a lousy $6. And then if they want the printed version, that's $19.95 paperback. That book pretty much has everything in it, and they can follow that. It's a really great guide to achieving these goals and making the changes if anybody needs to or wants to.
Okay, great. And again, Christoph's at speakercoop.com as a speaker, but also as a resource for folks on the resource section. So you can find him a couple of places there. You can find him at the balance6.com website. And let's talk about some of the successes you've helped folks with, Christoph. Some of those folks that are getting to have dinner with their kids and go to the soccer game and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so there's a dentist who had a small child, and his wife was ready to leave him because he always came home with a briefcase full of work. So he was physically home, but that's about it. And so when we started working together, I realized he was doing other people's job. So I said, listen, you're a dentist. You studied hard for that. The only thing, what you can do, nobody else can do. And that's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on fixing people's teeth and nothing else. It took a while for him to let go of that, but eventually he did, and had his office staff do what they were hired to do. And in the process, he came home, he didn't have a briefcase with him. He had time with his wife and young child, and not only that, he was able to add about 10 to 15 new patients to his practice because, you know, so it's a total win-win. He was making more money, working less, and only doing the things that he should be doing instead of doing other people's job.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Then there was a single mom, 4 kids, trying to launch a real estate business. Always on, always attached to this. And so when I introduced the concept of office hours to her, she was like, "You don't understand my business." And I said, "You're right. I'm a coach. I'm not a not a realtor. But I can tell you one thing: those 4 beautiful children there, they will resent you big time if you're not present to them. I mean present, not just physically." So it took a while, but eventually she did actually implement office hours and clearly stated those on her email signature and in her outgoing voicemail message. She's now running a multi-million-dollar business. She has about 5 or 6 team members on her team, and now her kids are grown, but the kids are also happy and are not resenting her for not being there. So that's another story too.
Great. And you've got some free stuff for folks too, as well, right? You've got a report they can read.
Yes, exactly. 5 secrets to put your business growth on autopilot. That's on the website. They can have a free consultation with me. So that's the free stuff. And then the really expensive stuff is my book, as I said, 1995. If you want the paper version, if you want an ebook, it's $5.99. So that should break your wallet. But yeah, no, I have a lot of good stuff out there for very low, inexpensive, um, or free. So if something that you heard today resonates with you, let's have a conversation.
And as always, at speakercoop.com, you can go to somebody's profile and you've got their phone number, their email. You can reach out and ask them information. It's not just to book them to speak. You can ask them for help with what they do. As if you're a speaker member, you can get access to all of our vendors, of course. And this Ask the Expert series is to help us learn more about how they help their clients and what problems they solve in the world. And Christoph is our resident I want to call you time traveler. That's not quite right. Maybe time bandit.
Time and money coach.
There you go. How about I like time bandit has promise.
Time bandit.
You steal some time back for your clients to spend with their families. I like that. Or at the beach or out on the slopes. Not much skiing around this part of the world right now, but it's out there for folks who are willing to seek it out, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
Any final words of wisdom for our folks, Christoph?
Just a couple things, make sure you have a schedule for every day of your life and make sure on that schedule there's something for yourself. And let me share a quick story for as a closing. Most people have never heard of Christoph Nauer, right? But you may have heard of Carl Jung. What do we have in common? We're both Swiss. Now, he had a house on the lake of Zurich. I did not. I grew up in the outskirts of Zurich. So one day he got a call from a very influential person and who asked him to meet with her at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. And he said, "I'm sorry, I already have an appointment. I cannot meet you at that time." She was not happy about that because she was used to getting her way. So she happens to be on the lake in a boat driving by his house on Wednesday afternoon at 2. And lo and behold, Carl Jung was sitting in his backyard dangling his feet in the water. Oh boy, you can imagine how she felt about that. So she got home and called him up irate and just yelled at him, "You lied to me. You didn't have an appointment. I saw you were sitting in the backyard dangling your feet in the water." And Carl Jung very calmly replied, "No, I did not lie to you. I had an appointment. The most important appointment of the week, an appointment with myself." And so I encourage you and actually push this advice to appointment once a day, not once a week. But if you're not doing anything right now, once a week is a good start.
Got to start somewhere.
That's right.
Every journey, what's it, the longest journey starts with a single step and all that good
Yep,
stuff,
correct.
right?
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
how do you eat an elephant? You know, one bite at a time, right?
Yep. Yep, that is so true.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that we were able to spend some time together. Again, that's the resource we can't get back, and I'm thrilled we were able to spend some of it with you, Christoph. And those who've watched the recording of this video, please tell your friends about it because they will also want to learn more about what Christoph has to offer. Get your 5 secrets to put your business growth on autopilot free at balance6.com, and look up Christoph Nauer at speakercoop.com and at balance6.com. And this is Jeff Klein with another edition of Ask the Expert, and we will see you next time. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.